Charles Oglesby, Todd, Millionaire.
You want to sell online. Make sure you stand out. Go to Wix e-commerce.
What's going on, my Todd Capital family? What is going on?
This is my fault.
What happened?
I was opening up YouTube to see the live comments and our episode.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused. I was like, I hear her talking, but I don't see her mouth moving. Something's going on. I don't know what's going on. But we out here, man. This is a special. We never done anything like this, but we're going to run it. Make sure you guys leave comments because we have this cool feature using StreamYard where we can actually show you your comments only. So if you have comments, you have questions, you have concerns, tap in. But also let you know that you can join our Patreon, moneyteam.tc, money.com. Man, we are content. We're gonna actually be adding some even more content once this goes. So yeah, the goal here, different things that are going on social media, some really cool things that you guys ought to be aware of if you're not, and then also kind of shed some light on if you are aware of it. And it should be fun. So what's going on?
Listen, there's a lot going on. You know, you guys stress me out on social media because I just can never understand how we get so engulfed in like the lives of others and what everyone else is doing in these fads of like someone creates a topic and it's like it eats our brain until no end. You know, last week it was, or the weeks before it was the Lori Harvey and that's the one that sticks out the most because I've never seen so many people like so crazy about a relationship that they weren't a part of, which is crazy to me. But this week we're talking about something that went viral. It was a mother and a father, and the father went to bring his child McDonald's, and the mom was like losing her shit. She was so upset. It was just all of this. Now, quick disclaimer, guys. We found out yesterday it was a hoax. It was not real. She is a TikTok influencer creator. So y'all made her go viral and make a lot of money. So yeah. The purpose of that, but I think it also opened up a very big issue that we now see in the Black community of, you know, you saw a lot of people's perspectives. So Charles, what is your perspective on that situation?
Man. Honestly, I never wanted to be in that situation where I had to make that choice because it's tough. I think that like, man, society kind of has created a lot of different things that can kind of feel you like you have no power. And so like maybe whatever that might be, like child support, which I'm not against child support. I think the child support is a beautiful thing. But like issue, I mean, even abortion discussed recently, like that. A lot of times, men don't really feel like they have a say in whether or not an abortion happens, and so it's like a lot of like we've taken the power dynamics where we used to have a world where it was the man just dictated everything, and then what we did is we flipped it on its head and we gave the women a role. And so like a lot of men are opting out of marriages, they're opting out of relationships because they feel like they don't have control over their lives inside that relationship. I've always thought that it shouldn't be like, hey, men have all the control. The solution to that is give women all the control. Like that doesn't make any sense. Just like the solution to all white environments isn't to create all Black environments. I think that instead the model for we want to see. And so perspective that a lot of it goes into the dynamics in the father. It has nothing to do with the kids. The kids just be collateral damage for what happened between the mother and the father. So if that relationship is great, he's more than likely going to be going out of his way to make sure that everything is good because he values her. If the relationship isn't good, it's going to make her feel the pain. But the only way to do that is to impact the kids. We do this all the time, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in that situation is because I didn't want to feel like my son was burden or a bill or an obligation. And I was like, man, who I am now, I couldn't be the dad that I am now if I wasn't there. Because I paid for a lot of money for him to go to school. But I also pay one mortgage. So imagine if I then had to go pay my rent in a different house, and then I also pay for whatever I'm giving her. And for his education, something's going to lack. And so I have the ability to do all these different things and go over and above because of my circumstances because I wanted to be intentional about those circumstances. And so I mean, that's not a I mean, a lot of us have we're all making the best of those situations, which I think is really dope. I just knew that I'm gonna be in a situation where a woman tell me what I can and can't do, when I can and can't do it. Even that kind of is what marriage. But like, at least I'm married to the woman. If she gonna know what I'm doing, at least I live with her.
Yeah.
You know, at least I get to touch on her. You know what I'm saying?
You know that a lot of these problems, and you know me, I think it's really cool, like the perspective we have, because I have, you know, a baby daddy. We don't talk to each other like that. You know, we're very respectful of each other, and you know, the question came to me. Someone was like, Michelle, what would you do? And I'm like, that would never happen to me, because Landon's dad would never bring something to my home and not include Trevor. It's just not in his character to do that. And it doesn't matter like what the situation is. If he didn't have it, he would hit me up and be like, listen, can you cash at me? Like, we have that open understanding and agreement. And, you know, like at some point you have to grow up. And when you're in a situation where you have, you know, the mother of the child, the father of the child, like you guys have to co-parent, you have to be mature about the situation. You have to be very transparent. And I think for me, like, I went from us fighting like that and doing crazy shit like that to now it's just like very basic conversations of what is needed. What do we need to do to make this the best that we can for Landon? You know what I'm saying? So I think like the level of maturity these days, people have kids and they forget that it's not about you. It doesn't matter how you feel. I don't care if you don't like the person you had a kid with. They're here already and there's nothing you can do about it. So instead of stressing each other out, and like nobody wants those kind of problems, bro. Like I'm telling you, I've been a mom for 10 years, a single mom for 10 years, and we can co-parent. It took us 5 years to be able to co-parent. Yeah. 5. Do you know how many headlocks and all, like we bumped heads because I wanted it my way. And when I realized that it wasn't about me, that I was like, you can't see your son. And then when you think about it, like when I kind of started growing up and I'm like, I'm telling this man he can't be in his kid's life. Like, what are we doing here? So it's just like, I think the mentality these days is women want to be like strong single moms. And I think it's too much normalized that it's like a badge of honor. Like being a single mom is like, you're a superwoman. And it's like, no, it's not natural. You're disturbing the natural order. Granted, I understand some people don't step up to the plate, but that's where child support comes in. And that's where you get court ordered agreements. And if you have to make the state step in, I don't see anything wrong with that, because if somebody knows they have a child, you know what that obligation comes with.
Yeah. I think that, and I tell my sister this all the time because she's in a circumstance like that. And I always tell her, you can't converse, you can only control you. And I think that a part of the reason why he did that again was to get back at her, how he's treated him. Because if he was really a bad dude, he would have brought it. But he brought something, just not enough. And so I think that like, what I tell my sister is you can only control you. So if your relationship's struggling, if your relationship is difficult, figuring out how to make it good by you changing, by you growing, by you improving. Done. That doesn't. And what's funny is a lot of similarities between co-parenting and being, because you're essentially stuck with that person. You don't get to change just because you didn't stay with that person. You don't get to not change just because you got married. All of us going to change. All of us are going to have to adapt to that person. And so I think interesting, like for me, if I would have gone through that situation, like I would have had to bring food for body to keep the peace. And what happens is when you do that and you go over and above, then she is. But if you do petty, if you match petty with petty, you get amplified petty.
Exactly.
Petty equals petty infinity. And so the conversation just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And we know it's not a conversation, but by him not being the bigger person or the better person, they're never gonna grow. It happens when you have to become the person that is going to the whole household. You go harder, you study more, you start a business side, you start investing, you figure out how to get to the point to where you as a man can take care of all those people, and you do all that, you grow.
Exactly.
And so you can stay small and you can stay petty, or be the bigger person and ultimately become a bigger person.
And I think that at the end of the day, it's a test to your character. Like how can you honestly know that there's other children in a household, whether they're yours or not, and like But then people are like, oh, it's not his obligation. It's not his obligation. But on a moral level, that's kind of like you would really not feed a child. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And on the community level too, because it's like you don't want your child to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Because there's two there. So what happens when their father show up and they bring food and now your son can't eat? And now your son feels like crap. Or wouldn't you rather the pride and seeing that their dad and took care of the other kid? Like kids notice things like that. They're like, yeah, that's my dad. My up, and he didn't have to do it, but he still did. And then what happens? Now you create a son or a daughter who becomes a better person. Also, by being small, you keep your kids small. The bigger you are, the bigger your kids become. Exactly. And so it's like it's like this negative cycle of just ignorance, and somebody got to make the change. And you can't wait on her to be for you to change. You can't wait on her to make food stamps better for you to be the change. You can't wait on her to speak better to you or treat you better. You just got to be dope in spite of. And that's true in business and investing and real estate and the stock market. You can't sit around and just point at everybody else and blame them. Reason why you're doing like crap stuff.
And I think that's a really big thing. Like a lot of people, they treat people the way that, like with the energy, like why would you match someone's low vibrational energy in any shape or the form? Like I see it happen all the time with you. You get a lot of hate, but like you don't address any of it. It's just like, whatever, like who are you? Like one of my mentors used to always tell me, he's like, when I would get upset with like what people would do or whatever, he would be like, did you know them yesterday? Are you going to know them tomorrow? What difference does it make? Do they pay your bills? Are they supporting your business? And when you really put it in perspective, it's just like, yeah, a lot of us care what people say. And it's okay to care what people say. But to a certain extent, you can't allow that to like change who you are as a person. Like, to an extent, I have to care what people say because I am a brand. Like I have my business, and me and Crystal were talking the other day and we were talking about, because Landon Googled my name. And I was like, I know that if my sons Google my name, they will never see anything that I would never not want them to see. They'll see interviews. And then he said it. He was like, Mommy, I see you on YouTube. I see you with Charles. Like he tells me he watches our interviews. And it was like a moment for me. And I was just like, my kid can Google my name and no sex tape stuff comes up. No drama on the internet comes up. No BS comes up. He's seeing me in action doing impactful things. And that's a test to who he is as a child. Like he got the Principled Award last year for being principled. Like my 9-year-old son. That's crazy. Like the way that he carries himself is a testament to how I've raised him. And a lot of people don't understand. It's like your kids are a direct reflection of you. Always. When your kids are acting a certain way and they're treating people a certain way, that is a reflection of the love you give them or the way they see you interact with other people. So I always try to make sure we operate in excellence. I say that all the time. I don't yell. I've tried my hardest to do this gentle parenting thing. I try really, really hard, but I'm raising 2 boys and one of them is a preteen. And I'm like, listen, he's also almost as tall as me. So we're like eye to eye now. And I'm just like, we can fight.
I'm the gentle parent to a fault. My son be falling out and I just be like my son the other night, he like had my phone and he has a habit of throwing my phone. And I told him, I was like, if you throw my phone, and he looked me in the face and he threw the phone and I didn't do nothing. And I was like, and my wife just be watching because like her is a little bit more strict and forceful on him. And she's, as a result, is strict and more forceful on him. And I'm not. So I was just kind of hoping that as he gets older, he'll start to understand these things. But no. I don't know. I feel like I was always afraid of my dad, and kind of in a good way. Yeah. And so I didn't want to be that dad. I didn't want a scary dad who like never has any good stuff to say. But I think there's a balance. Like I can let you know what it is and what needs to go on, and then also love you. So it's like if there's some love and there's some pain, then we're gonna grow a balance. Some, but if it's just love, just effing stuff up, and I'm just like, okay, then it's like I gotta fix that.
You do a really good job, and I acknowledge that a lot because you're in the terrible 2 stage right now, and
it's lit.
And I see how active he is, and the way you just like you're so calm and patient, and I think that that's a really big thing because during this stage is when he's doing a lot of character development and he's growing into who he's going to be. And I think sometimes like parents don't realize that when your kids are like young, they're very impressionable. And when you're yelling at them constantly and you're constantly pouring that negative energy on them, you're shifting their personality to be that way. And you're molding them to be a person that is like scared to be who they are. And I don't think people realize that even at a young age, like it tweaks their mind to be like that. And so I think, like I tell you all the time, he looks so happy. Like he's just always just like, okay, like he's just chilling. And
that's one of the things I don't want him to learn. You solve your problems with violence. And so like that's one of the things that I have to avoid. But it's still a process. I need to learn more about the fatherhood thing. Yeah, but it's fun. We have our ups and downs.
I literally feel like for the last like 48 hours, the boys have just been like just get it, like they just try me, and I just don't know. I just be like, okay, cool, like it's cool. So I think you know how on Tweet Talk you guys we pull tweets or whatever. Yeah. I think we do like a tweet talk on live real quick because I always see some like really outlandish stuff on my timeline. And it's usually like followed by a tweet by you. And I'm like, Charles then saw something in the news or on Instagram and it triggered him to like kind of go off a little bit. And I just think it's so funny because people don't know your personality. So I know a lot of people see things that you post and they take it very personal. And you can tell like they get their panties in a bunch. And so you tweeted something the other day. Let's see. Let's pull one of your tweets. Oh, you know what? My son is gonna trade options. I don't know about the other two kids.
Oh, you didn't see that one?
This is like I saw it on Instagram, but like now I read the caption and you're ridiculous.
Yeah. When I saw it, sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, I could end that my way. Sometimes I'll see something open, I record it, and I have to figure out how I'm gonna fit it in. But that time I just was like, okay, this is how I'm gonna spin this one.
That one was a good one though. That was a good one. So I love how you have such like a love-hate relationship for dating, for Twitter dating. Like it's just so funny to me. So an hour ago you tweeted dating doesn't suck, you suck.
Oh. I just honestly I don't think you lack options because you don't suck.
Well, not me. I'm saying I know I don't suck.
Right. But I'm just saying like that's the beginning of my example. Like for me, I've never lacked options, but my goal was to always be somebody that would want to be adult, to handle my business, to be focused, to be driven, to be building something, to present myself well, to dress well, to groom myself well, a fresh haircut, to have nice clothes, that kind of stuff. And so when I was in college, I had a lot of girls. When I was in law, I was engaged, so I had a lot of girls, but I knew that I could. And example, I remember one to this black law school association, law student association mixer, and like it was me, and there was a bunch of like other like girls who were there. They were like law school, but my wife came, and like the way that they were talking to me, like my wife was like, "Oh, they just all up on you, huh? And so I realized, like, especially because like in a lot of spaces here, so especially in Southern California, like there's not a lot of black dudes who law school. Are there some? Yes, but we're exceptions. So therefore, you kind of get your pick of the litter. Yeah, and that's how college was. In college, there's like one dude for like 8 girls. You have your pick, and so it always concerns me. I'm like, how do y'all not have somebody? Like that's weird because I never had that problem in my entire life. I can't relate.
I cannot relate. And I mean, the thing is for me, and thank you. I don't suck actually. And I do actually I have a lot of options. They're not options that I'm interested in because I feel like now that I've been around certain people, which I can say like being around you, I feel like the quality of my life is better. So why am I settling for anything? Like when I think about it, sometimes I'm like, I'm on a podcast with a millionaire. I talk to millionaires daily. So why am I giving anything that's not of best interest any time of day? So it's actually becoming who I am now has allowed me to shift my whole perspective on how I want to date, be courted, all these things. So it's just like I have more interest in people that are going to take it serious versus someone that they see who I am. I'm a pretty face, cool. Like, I know I look good, but like, that's not going to make a relationship. And for me, like, I'm going to be a millionaire very soon. So it's like, I need somebody that understands the vision because I have a lot of them and I have a lot of goals.
So my question for you would be, because I think that like a lot of women will see like who like you are now or who I am now, and they don't realize like marriage made all that possible.
Ooh.
Marriage and fatherhood made it possible. So tough for me to like a girl was like interested in me. I'd be like I'm this dude because of her. So I owe her everything. And I think that's why, like, whenever people talk about like the 50-50 divorce type stuff, it's like you probably came into that marriage nothing. So you probably should leave with half. That's half hers. She might not have woke up and did all the things that you were doing. It hones you in. And so the reason why is because like maybe the guy that has an order, he might not be where you want him to be now, but he could be there. And even if it doesn't, I think that in a lot of ways, like it's about like the connection and just the commitment in general. Because I forgot what we were doing recently, but even like it takes a lot of to run around with my son, and I noticed when we go out in public, like he doing all the running around, like she just be off doing her thing. Like when we're in the house, she does the house stuff, so she'll get him ready and she'll make him food. But when we're out, it's me holding him. It's me walking around with him, making sure he doesn't run off and get any place because I'm faster and I can run after him or have on the right shoes. Like to a certain extent, I think relationships online, they get boiled to like, what can you do for me, as opposed to what can we do together.
Yeah.
And also, what can you do that I can't do or just want to do or don't have the ability to do?
That's a good one, though. That's a good one. The last one. It's you have your strength and I have my strength, but like, what is the one thing that I can't do that I know you can? And the thing is, for me, like, I don't mind dating someone that's growing and wants to grow. I know that if I invest in a man that's growing, he's gonna 10x immediately because that's my nature. I'm a nurturer. Like, just that's what I do. Like, so if I start dating somebody, I'm going to want to grow your business. I'm going to want to invest in it. I'm going to want to, because I know just me investing my time will take you to a whole nother level. So it's just, I don't mind that. It's just finding someone that's worth doing that, because you could probably be making 100,000 now, but when we're done, I'm almost sure you're going to be close to 500,000, closing $1 million, because that's how much value I know I'm going to add to your life. And that's on a confidence aspect, a money aspect, a business aspect.
So I feel like I saw this quote that Annalisa put, and she said that Rihanna's worth like 1.2 billion, but ASAP Rocky like 10 million. And then she had another like couple, and it was like maybe Cardi B. And she was like, and it made sense when she posted it. She said that like, does it matter if you more than your man if you're both rich? And when you put it that way, it's true, because they say like once you crack be $200,000, your lifestyle doesn't change much, which is very true. I noticed when I went somewhere and I was like, man, this stuff is like super cheap. Or even like my friends having a concert and the tickets are like $30. I'm like, $30, like, all right, like that's cool. And like life is a lot of times price levels, because they have to put your life at like somebody who earns a modest salary can still afford. And so when you rise above that, now you get to experience life at a higher level. So essentially what I'm saying is that I think that the relationship is about the commitment, not necessarily the output. Because if we're being 100, I wanted my wife to be like my mom, hardworking. She's a go-getter. She's highly educated. She's still building her own business. Whereas my wife wanted to be like her mom. Her mom was like a housewife for the most part. She, for the most part, like was just taken care of. The husband paid for the car, the husband paid for the house. And so like in the beginning of our marriage butt heads on that lot. Because I would come home and I'd be like, why aren't you doing? Why aren't you grinding? Why aren't you work pushing towards something? Why aren't you helping me build the business? Why aren't you building your own business? I used to really struggle with that. And then I had to get content and just say, hey, this is what we got. I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna fill that gap. That if I judged marriage and a relationship based off of like thing that I need and this and probably wouldn't be married. But I value marriage over a lot of different things. The connection alone is worth it. And so I don't think that anybody who gets married finds the thing single people are looking for. I think the people who get married understand that fundamentally this is what marriage is. Whereas as most people think is ideal partner, ideal circumstances, we go off happily ever after. So I don't know. That's just my thought.
I think that's true. I like your thought process on marriage, and I never really looked at it through that way. But when I kind of think about my parents, they've been married for 30 years. Like that's what their marriage is based off of. It's the commitment that they have to each other. Like whether she's right or wrong, whether he's right or wrong, like it doesn't matter. Like we're gonna ride it through. And I saw them go through businesses, bankruptcies, everything together. Like they're still together. They've been together for like 36 years. Like it's crazy. And I value marriage as well. I don't know what happened along the way. I think I like maybe fell and bumped my head, but like I still value the culture of what marriage stands for and like the vows behind it, because my parents have never broken their vows. Like they didn't cheat on each other. They didn't do any of those things because they value each other that much. And so like, I can't wait to get married. Like I want to get married. I want to have that like husband and wife, and I want to build and I want to do all that. But there's a gap in this generation. I think that's really what it is. A lot of men, the culture of women now is very, very different. When I date and when I talk to men, like the first thing they say is like how different I am. And I'm like, I understand what they mean, but I'm like, women have this mentality that men are supposed to just take care of them like that. And I'm just like, I've never in my mind thought that I was supposed to say, hey, I can't pay my credit card. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've just never been like that. So it's just, I can't understand when I see people on the timeline. And listen, I'm not saying this to say I'm a pick me. I've just always worked for what I've wanted, and I've never depended on a man. And I think that may have also came from the fact that like I was a single mom at the age of 20. So I've never had someone to depend on. It's always been me. That's just always been my mentality in life. If I sat and wait on someone to take care of me, I'd have nothing.
Yeah, I think the worst part is we don't really have a foundation of principles. Really, what influences the culture is music, television, and social media. No principles, no book that we're living by. And this is why I think that like especially in marriage, like to have a foundation in the church, because the church outlines what responsibilities are. So I don't really ever feel like, even if I'm like doing what my wife says to do or whatever, or like maybe sometimes feel like I don't have as much of a voice as I would like. I never feel like I'm doing that for her at the expense of myself. I feel like I'm doing it. Like God says, do these things, woman. God says, be this kind of man, woman. So I don't feel like, like if somebody tells you something you kind of don't want to do it just because they told you to do it, you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like, I don't ever really feel like that, because it doesn't come from her. It comes from God. And so that I'm going to say, but also I feel like the culture for dudes is really warped now. And like a lot of dudes, like they don't even really see the value in marriage. And so moving through life, especially on the dating scene, not really looking for a wife. They're looking for like a lot of dudes. They're just like, oh, she cool. I'm gonna try blah blah blah. And so like that's what they're pursuing. They don't genuinely have an interest. They do what they got to do so they can get to that point. And after they get to that point, they move on to the next one. And so we don't a lot of people that are genuinely seeking that connection. And so what I think has happened and have responded, and they're saying, if that's what you want, all you want from me, I need to make sure I get a benefit out of this. That benefit is compensation. So where they would have normally just one of the relationship of one of the family time, finding the dudes just be like hitting it or doing whatever or ghosting them. And so they responded. And I've also noticed that like a lot of like that sex driven that's driven by hip hop and rap music comes from like dudes also being interested in one thing. And I used to always wonder, I was like, why do women get online all the time and show their body or twerk, talk about sex or all these different things? If you scroll TikTok, that's all you see. Like it's very just blunt app. On TikTok or on Twitter, you don't really see women talking about what they would do sexually. On Instagram, you don't, but on TikTok, it's there all the time. Yeah, it comes in joke form, but it's there all the time. If you ever
I didn't
scroll
know they
TikTok,
got down like that on TikTok.
it's in. So, but I think that also stems from the way men are to view women. They want a woman who has the body, who's showing off her body, and so those are the women that get attracted or who get attention. So now women have to adjust and do that. And the last thing I'm going to say is I think this whole like, I want to be a stay-at-home wife and just live this life of luxury came from all these reality TV shows because that wasn't a thing. And I posted the videos like have always been working. Always can. They worked through segregation, through Jim Crow. They worked post-slavery. They were obviously worked slavery, and so like the stay-at-home wife was never really a thing for us. I mean, mom's a stay-at-home wife, but she had a business. But I don't know. But I just think that that's a novel concept, and the reason why I think that's important is because it drifts us so far away from me as Africans and America. That we're trying to operate in a way that conducive to being African. Meaning that if America is increased in value and we don't have two people earning in the household, you're automatically at a disadvantage. And so we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage because we're playing based off of what's living like. And that is going to continue to set us back, in my opinion.
Exactly. And I think it's really dope to have dudes like you in the culture that firmly believe in, you know, I wouldn't say it's a right and a wrong way, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like that's what it needs to be. So kudos to Charles, man.
The next topic we're gonna talk about is Invest Fest. Did you go last? You went last.
I went last year. Yeah, it was really, really dope.
Looking forward to this year.
Hold on 1 second. Where did you go?
Disappeared. I don't know.
Hold on, I'm trying to find you on my desktop.
Oh,
but yeah, I did go to Invest Fest last year. It was there we go. It was really, really cool. I actually met.
Michelle's gone. Man, they going up today. Anyway, Merry Christmas to you.
Working on a birthday, because that's what do, man. You gotta work on your birthday if you want to be a legend. And working on a birthday, working on a legend, and I kind. I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Get on crossing the line to take. The hate me so written through it.
There we go. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but we were talking about InvestFest. Okay. Yeah, so I went to InvestFest last year. It was really dope. I met Alex Good Energy. I met Kiana Watson. Oh my God, I met Ron Brown. It was actually really amazing. I made a lot of really dope connections. And so it was so funny because like when you first got there, you had to get in line. And I was like, how am I gonna get all these people to know who I am? So I took my flyer for Prima Business Agency and I started airdropping it to everybody as I was walking through the building. And guess what everyone else started doing?
Same
Airdropping
thing.
everybody. I was so mad because then people started turning it off, but I literally I airdropped it. Shiggy was there too. I airdropped it to him. I walked up to him. It was really crazy. I was like, no, we're going to make this work. But it was a very, very good networking experience. So I'm really excited to be there as a vendor this year with you because that vendor floor was popping. People were spending money. Like they were just, it was like a black marketplace. Like everything was black owned. It was so beautiful. It was really, really well put together for what it was. But it's going to be really dope this year because now the speakers that they have, like Kiana Watson is going to be speaking again. Everybody else is like really well known, and EYL obviously is super out here, so when I saw that text, I was like, yes, boss man, that's exciting.
You figure there's last year there was 4,000 people that came. This year it's probably gonna be twice the size. So let's say there's 8,000 people there, but there's 150 vendors. Don't stand out more, or the vendors or the patrons. I'm trying to stand out. I'm not just trying to. Somebody said y'all trying to stand out, and I think that's really the goal. The goal is also to get a chance to meet people who, like, sometimes you'll go to an event and people will know you there or know of you there, but they don't even see you there, or they might see you in passing. And so now they're going to have an opportunity to come and actually interact, get some testimonial, meet some new people who don't even know about what we're doing. So it's a huge opportunity.
We might even be
I
able to
had to
do a
make that
couple quick
investment.
15-minute gem drop sessions, like
I was
podcast
thinking too.
sessions. Yeah, like I think it's dope. It's going to be a 2-day event. And where, you know me, I'm going to be organized with the agenda of who we need to talk to, where we need to go. Like it's going to be really, really dope. We got to get our signage right. We got to get everything to look aesthetically pleasing, because last year people came with some heat, Charles. They were in there with
Yeah.
like full design setups. Like, and I think a big thing is like when you invest in something and you want your brand to stand out, like it speaks volumes when you go the extra length to like make sure people understand the value that you hold behind your brand. One person that stood out to me the most was she's a trademark lawyer, Rosetta, I believe her name is. I believe that's her name, but her setup was so nice. It was so well put together. She looked amazing. So it's just like those are things that stand out to you. So I'm really, really, really excited. And it's what, August 6th and 7th?
6th and 7th,
I believe. Yeah. So
what's cool is like I've been telling people to make the business real. So the business offline and bring it in person. So those ebooks, I'm gonna be turning them into physical books. I got 3. So all those gonna be turning them into physical books. Maybe have some QR codes for folks who want to buy the course right then and there. That'll lead them right to the landing page. I'm getting all the shirts made up. So having a t-shirt made, maybe having some other cool ideas made. I'm just gonna do having like a little mini podcast studio right then and there. So podcast studio content set up and to shoot their testimonial right then and there. So we're gonna be going all out. But I think that one of the things that I wanted to touch on is there's people who maybe would have thought that they should have been on the stage. Like, oh, they should invite them able to present. And that's cool. Like you can take that multiple ways. We're saying, well, since they didn't invite me, I'm gonna just run my own thing at the same time. Or you could just realize you done enough work yet. And while you've done enough work, obviously you have not, because if you had done enough work, it would have been a no-brainer for them to include you. Or if you think that you have done enough work and you maybe just weren't on their radar participating as a vendor, now you get to be on their radar. So I already know that they're seeing it come through, and they're like, they know who Todd Cash. I've gotten a shout out from Earn Your Leisure on I want to say Mondays when they were talking about options trading, because they both my course. And so they know who I am, but they might not have thought to include me, or they might not have thought whatever they thought. But if I continue and be there, I'm going to get into that space as well. And so I never anything as a slight and burn a bridge. One thing that I've learned of the last year, 2 years, once you really on your own, you need all the bridges you can get.
exactly.
You do need to be ruining relationships over petty stuff, over small money, because a big end is worse than losing something over small money.
Exactly.
I'd rather take the L off of small money than have a person despise me, because that's a lot of energy. That person knows people. That person has a lot of potential. That have other deals I might want to participate in. So it's like you got to know, like honestly, the things that Nipsey Hussle tweeted right before he passed, he's like, one of the best things you can have, like, strong enemies. And I was like, I don't know if I want strong enemies. I don't want no enemies
At all.
I don't want nobody to think that I'm their enemy. So it's like right before we got on this podcast, there's a dude I used to do business, and like I shot him a text, bro, like, just letting you know, ain't no ill will with me, man. And I said to somebody else or DM, I was like, hey, bro, like, I don't got no beef with nobody. I'm not trying to hate you. I'm not exerting nobody, because all we really got, man. And you don't need enemies, because once you start burning bridges, those bridges be trying to burn other bridges. And I learned that the hard way. So what you might think is one relationship, like 10, 15, because their reach and their energy could just like topple the whole side of your business, and it's not working.
Exactly. And that's a really big thing that a lot of people they don't realize. And I think it's so important in business is to pick your battles. Choose your battles wisely with who you decide that you want to, screw over something that was just either a miscommunication, or even if it wasn't, it's just if we're no longer compatible, we're just no longer compatible. And it is no harm, no foul, no anything like that. But I just think that people need to realize there's more value in relationships than anything. Andre, actually, on his podcast that we shot in Atlanta, he said it. He said it something to the fact of burning bridges on there. Like, it's just not. It's like, for what? Like, at the end of the day, Why do you want to be known as an asshole or the villain to anybody? You don't. And I think it's a test of your character, Charles, because I don't see people being able to speak poorly on your character the way they once did back in 2020 when you first really shot out, with your course and everything like that. So I can see the growth, and I'm sure a lot of other people can as well.
Had to become a lot nicer and less ruthless. When you get into the top, you kind of become ruthless. It's like prisoner's attitude, and then once you get to a certain point, you're like, I don't know. You can be more harmonious, and I think that is in a lot of ways a lot of the reasons why like the hood can because it's like everybody's trying to get to the top, so they're trying to next man. They don't really care, but then you get there, like especially once you have, and you realize like you don't need people trying to your kingdom. You tend to kind of want to make peace. So it's like, I need peace. Don't be coming over for me, y'all.
That's the thing.
I'm just gonna pay my mortgage with the mortgage.
You said you trying to pay the mortgage, man. You had a $5,000 dividend drop yesterday. You good? You good? I just that's how I feel. I'm not gonna confront any, like, there's no need for confrontation. We just don't work. And if you choose to have hate, I don't know what to tell you, because I don't care. Like,
and I used to like people who like hated me. I used to do two things. I would either like come back, or I would like act as though I didn't care, let them know I didn't care. But now I'm returning all hate with, like, if you got anything negative to say about me, I'ma just tell you that you man. Like, keep doing it, keep crushing. I got nothing negative to say about you. I don't think it's a good place to be. I don't think you return the same energy that's given to you. And that immediately was kind of caught off guard, because quite honestly, before 2020, it wasn't really a bunch of stuff. I had some people that I might have disagreed with, but I never had people going out of their way to like come for me. Which happens when you become somebody. So Michelle, I'm telling you, when you talk about your stuff,
you be seeing, Charles, people for you. Listen, you know what the thing is though? People come for me now, but they don't at me. I can't see it, because they'll block me, and then they'll say what they'll say, and I'll hear it from the grapevine of down telephone land, because I feel like this. I carry myself in a way that not to come to me with bullshit. Like, not to mess with me. Like, that I don't play about that. Like, one thing about it, two things for sure, is that I'm a businesswoman always, because my life is a business. I am my own brand. I am Michelle Welch, is a brand. So if I allow you to knock me off my character and to take me into a space that I'm not supposed to be in, that is like I'm hindering my own business growth. How am I sitting here and I'm a great coach, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a mom, I'm well respected, and I'm literally arguing with people about what? Like, it doesn't, you got to make it make sense, and it just doesn't to me. It doesn't make sense for me to acknowledge the bullshit. Like, I see it, unless someone wants to like at me and say Michelle at Michelle Welch, like, and come for me, we don't really have a problem. Unless you can call me and tell me we have a problem, we really can't have a problem, because you don't know me. So it's just like, that's how I feel. And, but there's also a very fine line between being like the peacemaker. And I also feel like if someone is literally attacking me, I'm not going to meet you with love. You're going to get met with what is deserved, because I ain't do nothing to you. So for you to think that you're going to come for me and tear me down, I'm not the one. Like, I can be very, not kind. And I just, by the grace of God, he's kept his hands on me, Charles. We've not had to go down that road. But listen, we could tussle if we need to. Okay? Like, nah.
Before we close this out and head into the Patreon exclusive, shout out to Andre C. Hatchett. Make sure you guys in his notary program. I know he's running a sale. I got an email. So he's running a 4th of July sale. This dude is changing lives. Personally, I know some mastermind who took Andre's course and created a whole business, and from there has created more businesses that are all within that same kind of silo of businesses. So shout out to Andre. We appreciate his support. Also shout out to the Tweet Talk Black Gold Podcast, which is our sister episode and also part of Patreon. Also shout out to the babies, y'all. Shout out to the kids, because everything we do is for the kids. So welcome to the podcast.
Listen, we are trust fund babies. Listen, we brag different.
Dope conversation. We're gonna head into the Patreon exclusive. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, I apologize for not being able to get access to this, but you can. All you have to do is go to www.moneyteamtc.com. We got as low as $2, $4, and I think we got one for $20 that comes with the free shirt. Well, we appreciate all your support, and we get this one up.